Okay, so today we are starting the drama, as I told you in the last lecture. So our drama is The Duchess of Malfi, which is written by John Webster. Okay, and now today what we are going to cover, that is a very little bit introduction, like about the you can say background of the drama, and a little bit about the author, and then the main characters. After this, I'm going to tell you the whole summary of the drama, so that before starting the drama, you should be able, or you should know, you should have the basic idea of the drama, that like what we are going to cover um, in this drama, or how we are going to cover this drama, and what is in this whole drama, so that you should be able to understand everything, whatever it is in the drama. First of all, the Duchess of Malfi. This is the Duchess of Malfi, originally published as the tragedy of the Duchess of Malfi. This is also called the tragedy of the Duchess of Malfi. It's a Jacobean revenge tragedy written by English dramatist John Webster in 1612 and 13. It was first performed privately at the Blackfriars Theatre, then later to a larger audience at the Globe in 1613 and 1614. So we have to, what we are going to do, I'm just giving you very little bit. As I told you, that we are going to cover in detail about the author, and and more about drama. Okay, in our coming lectures, but today there will be the summary of this whole drama. And this play is about a woman who marries against the wishes of her two powerful and cruel brothers. It is a dark story of evil and guilt expressed in great poetry. By the way, this drama, like we see that usually the dramas are, there is prose in the dramas, but this in this drama is written in poetic form. All the main characters die in the end, and you will see that as we cover the summary, you will see that all the main characters of the drama, they'll die in the end of the this drama. So now these are the main characters of the drama. Okay, the main characters are the Duchess. She is the main character of this drama, and she is the heroine of this drama. Then there is Antonio. He is the steward of the Duchess. Steward is the person who takes care of your property. A kind of finance minister. And then there is Delio. Delio is the Antonio's friend. Cardinal, he is the brother of Duchess. Ferdinand, he is another brother of the Duchess. So there are two brothers of Duchess. Ursula, he is the villain in this drama. Whatever the character has been given to him, he will act as a villain. And then is Cariola. Cariola is the maid of Duchess, and then Julia. We are going to know about about the Julia in the summary. So okay. Do you know who is the Duchess? Or do you know about this title little bit? Like where do we use Duchess? Or what does it mean?
Um, I just know that it's like someone important,
Someone important.
right?
Yes. Okay. Do you know about, when we talk about Britain, like whatever they have the government system. So I'm just giving you a little bit, about this. Like whatever the government system they have, they have a kind of democratic system, but they also have monarchs there who also have a constitutional role, in the government. So there, the head of that monarchy is known as the king or queen, as we know. We know the Queen Elizabeth, who died sometime before. Now there's king, what is the name of the king? Charles. King Charles.
Charles.
Yeah, King Charles. So then, after King Charles, there are the prince who is the son of, King Charles, right?
Yes.
Prince William and Prince Harry, and Prince Harry, I guess, right?
Yes.
Yes. So after these positions like the king and queen, and there comes the prince, and after prince, the person who possesses the position, in that royal family, that is known as the duke or the duchess. If he is a male, he will be known as the duke, and if she is female, so she will be known as the duchess, right?
Yes.
Like as we use the word like Duchess of Sussex, right? So who is the Duchess of Sussex?
Yes.
The wife of Prince Harry is the Duchess of Sussex, right?
Mm,
Got it? Got it?
okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is how
Yes.
we use the words Duke and Duchess. I just maybe it can be a little bit confusing, but I just want to give example from a kind of real world so that you should be able to know, right? Okay.
Okay.
So now I'm just going to tell you the summary, and in that summary, I'm not going to show you the summary, but I'm just kind of telling you. So you just have to listen to me. In that summary, you are going to know everything about the drama, like what is in this drama, what we are going to in this drama. Got it? So after the summary, we are moving towards another section of this today's lecture. I'm just going to, okay. Okay, now listen to me carefully. This is the drama The Duchess of Malfi. It is an five-act play, The Duchess of Malfi by John Webster. Okay, as I told you. And this the setting of the play is shown in three places. So the places which we are going to discuss in this drama, these will be there will be three things or three cities which where the setting takes place of this drama. That is Malfi, that you can call it a kind of town in Italy. Then there is Milan, that is also in Italy, and Rome, that is also call it town or city of Italy. At the time, maybe it wasn't like as it is today, but these cities could be towns at the time. So Malfi, Milan, and Rome, the three cities of Italy, right? Then the word Amalfi, which we are using, that also comes from the word Amalfi. Amalfi, Amalfi, Amalfi. That is a town in Italy. So the drama which starts in Amalfi from the palace of the Duchess, right? So what you are going to learn, like the play is set in the court of Malfi, Italy. The and the Duchess. We are going to discuss about the Duchess. Like she was the recently widowed Duchess, and the whole story. The whole story which we are going to discuss is that the uh, recently widowed Duchess falls in love with Antonio, a low steward. Like who was Antonio? He was his a kind of steward. You can call her a finance minister, but he was not from royal family. So she falls in love with him. Now we are just moving towards the plot. What happens? Like this story starts from the Roman Catholic Italy, from the palace of Duchess of Malfi. The main characters are the heroine of the drama of Duchess. She became widow very early, who ruled over the Italian town Amalfi. He had a steward, Antonio, who had recently returned from France to the palace of Duchess of Malfi. The Duchess of Malfi has two brothers, Cardinal and Ferdinand. At the beginning, from where we are going to start from where the whole drama starts. So it starts when there is entry of the brothers of the initially it starts when there was a dialogue between Antonio and Delio. Antonio returns from France, so he was talking with his friend Delio. But later on, in the second part of our second scene, we are going to discuss the Duchess brothers. So as there will be the entry of Duchess brothers. What happens? Antonio says, because this is the summary, so I'm not going to tell you the exact R step by step. I'm just going to tell you the overall crux of the this drama, so that you should just know the story, and then we are going to discuss everything in detail. So Antonio, to his friend Delio, he says to his friend Delio, when he was talking about the Duchess, like, and so he says that the brothers of the Duchess, they are very cruel and they are crooked. And he says to his friend that see the Duchess, how she's noble and she's beautiful and she's intelligent, and she's also young. She's still young, and she wants to marry, but her brothers, they don't want her to marry. And so he gives the reasons, like Antonio gives the reasons to his to when he was talking to Delio, he gives the reasons that why her brothers don't want her to marry again. So he says that there are few reasons behind this. One of those reasons is the fortune or the money of the Duchess, uh, because she is widow and she doesn't have any heir. So the whole and whatever the money she possesses, that money will go to her brother. So that is one of the reasons that her brother um, don't brothers both of her brothers, they don't want her to marry again. And then the Duchess brother Cardinal has, so uh, they, there were two brothers which we discussed, like Cardinal and Ferdinand. So Cardinal had a a kind of, we can servant, call it servant, or he was he was the with the name of Bosola, right? And the character he's given in this drama is he was acting as a spy of Cardinal, who was spying Cardinal's sister, means Duchess in this drama. Who So Bisola, he was accused of murder and was in prison. After completing his sentence, now he was out of the jail. And then Ferdinand, Duchess' second brother, gives the task to Bisola of spying on her sister, that you will take care of my sister so that she should not marry anyone. Initially Basola, he doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to obey him. He doesn't want to that thing. However, he thinks that this is his job to obey his duke. Now what happens, after that, both her brothers, they warn the Duchess uh, that not to get married again, and she agrees with them for the moment. She just she just says them that okay, I'm not going to marry. Then both of the her brothers, they leave for Rome. This was, the discussion happened in the palace in Malfi, and they both brother, they went to Rome because they lived there. After that, the Duchess, she tells her lady in waiting, Cariola, you can call her, she tells her maid Cariola secretly that she will marry, and she will marry none other than her steward Antonio, means with her finance minister Antonio. The Duchess secretly woos her steward, woo, W double O, woo. It means that she gets the, she convinces Antonio, or she gets the support of Antonio. Uh, this is how the Duchess and Antonio secretly uh, got married, right? Then after some time, after 9 months period, she got pregnant. Basola, who was spying Duchess, he had doubt, on Duchess. So he knew something, like he knew that she was pregnant. So in order to confirm that thing, what does he do? He gives her a fruit. The fruit name is apricot. So according to him, like he thought that when he was going to give that fruit, so with that fruit, he would know that whether she was pregnant or not. So he gave a fruit. He gave the fruit uh, to the Duchess. As she eats the fruit, okay, as she eats the fruit, she feels unwell, and so okay, after eating the that fruit, she started feeling unwell, and it causes panic in the whole palace that something wrong has happened with Duchess. However, Antonio and Duchess carefully handled everything. They inform everyone that the Duchess has got some disease, uh, because as he gave fruit to the Duchess, and as she ate that fruit, so she began feeling something bad, and there was a panic in the whole palace that something has happened to the Duchess. But Antonio and Duchess, they carefully handled the matter, and they dealt in a way, they showed that there was some disease, uh, uh, to Duchess, and everything is okay, she's going to be fine. So after that, Antonio asked the Basola that, did you add any poison to the fruit which he gave to the Duchess? So Basola answers that, what are you saying? Why will I give poison to my Duchess? And after the conversation, Antonio leaves that place. But as he was leaving, he drops a paper. There was a paper. He was carrying a paper. He drops a paper. So Basola noticed that paper, and he took that paper, as he saw that it was the horoscope of his child. Got it?
Yes.
Okay. So that was the horoscope of his child. After having, he was Basola had doubts, like the Duchess is pregnant, or she has given birth to a baby. But after seeing the horoscope, he became sure, like this horoscope, was the child of Duchess. But he still didn't know, like this horoscope of the child is of the child of Antonio, but he thought that this horoscope is of Duchess child. So after that, now he became sure that the Duchess had given birth to a child, and this was the horoscope of that child. So Basola decided that he will send this paper to Rome to the Duchess brother, so that they should know that the sister had disobeyed them by getting married. Got it?
Okay.
Okay. So when her brothers, they found out this thing, they got angry that their royal blood had become contaminated. She has done something wrong, or she has, married to a lower class person, because they did not want to marry her. They didn't want to marry her with anyone, to a lower class person. So they both decided that before taking any action, it should be made clear that who is the husband of Duchess, because they didn't know that who is the husband of Duchess. So after some time, Duchess gave birth to two other children. Now, see, they were finding her husband and they were in search of him, and but because this is drama, so they haven't seen that what happened in between, but they are just coming that after some time, when she becomes a mother of three children at that time. So what happens, uh, at one point, the Duchess brother Ferdinand decides to go to her sister's room. Okay, now this is a time when she has married to Antonio and she has three children. So at one point in time, Ferdinand, her brother, he decides that he'll go to her sister. So what does he do? He decides to go to her sister's room and he secretly goes to you know he secretly goes there. As he enters, so she got scared, and there he gave her sister a dagger, a kind of knife, so that she should kill herself. The Duchess tells her brother that she's married now, and this thing even makes makes her more angry about it. So Ferdinand said to his sister that you have lowered the reputation of yourself as well as of your royal family. So he promises there at the time that he will never see her sister again. He promises that he is not going to see her sister again. Then what happens? Uh, after, a time comes when the Duchess and Antonio, they decided to flee the palace because now they were feeling threatened, because they were not knowing about Antonio, but they both, the Duchess and Antonio, they were feeling threatened that they can be killed by the Cardinal or the Ferdinand in their palace. So they, decided to flee from the palace. For this, the Duchess dismisses Antonio from his services, uh, and blames her for any misconduct, right? Antonio, he did not do anything wrong, but this was a kind of plan they made, that she is going to dismiss him from his service so that he will go somewhere else. So she dismisses Antonio from his services for any kind of misconduct or misappropriation, so that he should flee, he should go to a safe place, far away from that palace. And later, she also wanted to join him there. But what happens during this, when the whole argument was going there in the court, in front of the Duchess, Basola, who was, the spy of her brother, so he understood this thing, that something wrong is, taking place, or something, there's something fishy. So what he does, he starts defending Antonio there in the court, like, Antonio hasn't done anything wrong, so he should not be discharged of his services. Uh, so at okay, so by seeing this conduct of the Basola, so Duchess, she took him as a, she thought that Basola is a good person, and she should share her, everything or her secret with Basola, because he's a good person and he's defending Antonio. So she can. She has no she has no threat from Basola, so she can share her secrets with him. But Basola's dissection achieved the Duchess' trust so much, so that Duchess felt easy to tell her secret of marrying Antonio. So she tells him that Antonio is her husband, and she deliberately blamed Antonio so that he can leave palace easily. So this was a planned thing. But in actual, Basola was, not doing anything with goodwill. He was actually wanted to deceive her. He deceived her, and he told everything to her brothers when they were in Rome. He sent that news that Antonio is her husband. So he told them that your sister is, and he also informed them that your sister is planning to escape Malfi. Okay, got it till this?
Yes.
Is it boring?
No.
No. Okay. Have you covered this before? A summary of this?
I tried reading a bit of it, but because I didn't know the characters, it was a bit confusing.
Okay. It's okay. So now it is going to be easier for you because that's why I started with the summary. So now inshallah it is going to be easier for you to understand. So then what happens after that, when that Visola, he tells he sent that news to her brothers in Rome that she's planning to escape Malfi, and as a result of that, Ferdinand he called Antonio to Rome. Ferdinand, he calls Antonio to come to Rome. Uh, However, Antonio was aware of the situation. Antonio knew this thing, like there's something wrong, why Ferdinand is calling me there. So he did not go there. He did not obey his order, and he did not go there. He knew that this was a trap for him. So he, instead of accepting the invitation of Ferdinand, Antonio took his eldest son and he went to Milan. There is a third place, a third city, Milan. One is Malfi, another is Rome, and third place is Milan. So he went to Milan. After that, Pisola arrests the Duchess and her two sons, along with her maid, Crayola, on the orders of her brothers. So when Antonio and his elder son, they escapes the palace. um, Now Bisola, he arrests the Duchess, her two children, and along with her maid, on the orders of her brothers. So her brothers were so cruel that they sent her, to prison in Amalfi, in the palace of Malfi. When she was arrested, she was sent to prison. Then her brother Ferdinand, who had promised that he would not see her again, he went to the jail where she was imprisoned. And he told her sister, he told her a lie. He told her that her husband and her eldest son, they had died. Ferdinand goes to her sister and he tells her that your husband and your eldest son, they both have died. After hearing that, she also wanted to die because this was something very, a kind of thing which made her very kind of sorrow, and she wanted to also die. She didn't want to live now. So even and after giving that news, and that was a lie, even that he was, it wasn't enough for him. What did he do? He just um, okay, okay, so we are going to reconnect our meeting. Okay. Okay, so what happened there? So he leaves some maid people, maid, MAD, maid. So he leaves maid people there so that she should get scared of them, or he should torture her sister. So he sends maids there to scare her sister so that with the screams and the actions of those maid, people who were there, she should get more tortured in that prison. Okay. So after seeing this, Basola was also noticing this thing, that what is Ferdinand doing with her sister in the prison, like he is, torturing her sister. So Basola didn't like this thing, like, he has, put her sister into prison, and then he is doing such, things with her. So he feels guilty. Basola also feels guilty of his crime, because he was the person who sent her to jail. So Basola feels guilty, that he's complicit of the crime of Ferdinand. Then what does Basola, do? That he disguises himself and he went to the Duchess. Now Basola, he went to the Duchess in the prison, and he says her, um, that he was going to kill her. Basola, he was telling, um, Duchess that he is going to kill her. But Duchess, she didn't get afraid of him, and because whatever she, she faced there, so she wasn't any more scared of anything. So then some murderers entered there. So Basola, because he had disguised himself, so he, uh, kind of became murderer. So he entered there and he killed the Duchess, her two children, and her maid. So he kills all of them there. Okay.
Okay.
So after that, Ferdinand was, when he kills them, so Ferdinand, because this was the thing which was assigned to Basola by the Ferdinand. So Ferdinand was so cruel that even he did not, leave her children alive. He killed her sister, but he also killed her children as well as her maid. But when Ferdinand sees the dead body of his sister, he goes mad. At the time, he became mad because whatever he saw, so he could not bear that thing. He goes mad away in the sorrow of his sister. Like now at the time he was repenting, like what has he done with, his sister. So here Vasola was also feeling guilty about what he did. He killed the Duchess and her children. Now Ferdinand starts blaming Basola because this was something very cruel when he saw the dead body of her sister. So he was very, he became mad and he was very sorrowful, and now he starts blaming Basola for killing and his sister. Now, he was saying that you are the person who has done this thing with my sister. Um, because Basola followed his orders, because Basola did everything on the orders of Ferdinand. So Ferdinand says to Basola that I did this thing because I was very much angry on my sister. So that's why I wanted to take revenge from her. That uh, when they both, the Cardinal and the Ferdinand, they said her sister, they said their sister that she's not going to marry, but she disobeyed, her brothers. So that's why. So Ferdinand was, angry with her sister, and he wanted to revenge. But he says to Basola that I was angry with my sister and I wanted to take revenge. But why did you follow my orders? Now, right now, he was completely blaming Basola that you are the person who has done this thing with my sister. You shouldn't have followed my orders. Now, Ferdinand, in his made condition, refuses to pay Basola for his action because he also promised Basola to pay him for the action. So, right now, he refuses to pay Basola for what he has done for Ferdinand, and he leaves. Ferdinand leaves that place. However, the Duchess was still alive with her last breaths. She was still, taking her last breath. She was alive. So Vasola tells her that her husband and her son was still alive because, at a point, she was told by her brother Ferdinand that her husband and her son, they had been killed. But right now, Vasola, he was telling to the Duchess that her husband and her son, they both are alive. So this thing, after hearing this thing, it was easier for her to die, because she was already dying. She was just taking her last breath. So after hearing that news, so it became easier for her to die. And Basola also wanted, also told her, so that whatever the wrong he had done, so that we should give little bit, even little bit peace to her at the end. So, on the other hand, in Milan, Antonio did not know about the death of his wife. Like Antonio was in Milan, so he didn't know that whatever it happened with his wife. So, and he thinks to go back to the cardinal and try to convince him. So Sola, he thinks that I should go back to the cardinal and I should tell everything to the cardinal and I should try to convince him about marriage. Okay, so at that time, at that point, while Ferdinand uh, becomes made cardinal, thinks of himself that he is also involved in her sister's murder. This was not only Ferdinand who killed or who ordered to kill her sister, but Cardinal was also complicit in that. Cardinal was also the person, who was involved, directly or indirectly. He was involved in the murder of her sister. So, and he knew this thing, that he is also involved in it. So now he thinks about, about himself, that what will happen with him, that like if anybody knows that I was also involved in the murder of my sister. So he wants to keep it secret. A cardinal gives the instructions to Basola to kill Antonio as well. Now what does he do? Now cardinal, because he don't want himself to be known as the murderer of his sister. So he gives order to Busola to kill Antonio as well, so that nobody should know about the murder of his sister. At that time, uh, okay, okay. Then, okay, there's another, and then there is another character, that is Julia, which I told you at the end. Now, Julia, she was Cardinal, the brother of the Duchess. Cardinal, he had an affair with Julia, and Julia, after seeing Basola, Julia, when she was there in the court, when she saw the Basola, so she fell in love with Basola, right? Uh, Cardinal loved Julia, but Julia fell in love, Basola. Uh, so now Basola said to Julia, now what happens? Okay, are you getting me? Are you getting this thing?
Yes.
Okay, so when and at this point, Cardinal was thinking, uh, are he tasked to Basola to kill Antonio, right? The husband of Duchess. But what happens? Like Basola, he now he wants to anyhow he wants to make it public, so that there is all cardinals is also involved in the murder of the duchess. So what does he do? Through Julia, Basola tries to make it public, or to get him convinced, to get him confessed this thing, that he is also involved in the murder